All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday, the final Reaction Monday. Merely Bo, the super terrific Z. How are you, buddy?
ST,
yeah.
What would just S be? Just super?
Just super. But you're both.
Yeah, both. That's super and terrific.
Yeah.
I'm great. Good to be with you.
Wasn't that the
It was GTS.
super terrific? Wasn't that like something with Seinfeld, like Kramer?
I don't know.
Super terrific happy hour or something.
I was
like
just
that?
thinking of guaranteed tremendous safety. So what's GT? Just guaranteed tremendous.
Yeah. Either way, it's an LD that's involved. I feel like it's something to do with Seinfeld too. Well, we had a Super Bowl.
Well, how about it? It's over.
By the way,
in
let
the
me
books.
just say this before we get into the football. This new thing that we're having to deal with, where the rain comes down and then immediately covers everything in a sheet of ice, I'm not a fan of in any way. Thank God the sun's out and it's melting. God bless ODOT and the folks out there spreading salt, because I drove home in it from Jackson on Saturday night, and it was treacherous. The further north I got, the more treacherous it got Saturday night. And then by 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, I had to go back down there, and it was my driveway unsalted, because I don't have ODOT salting my driveway. You could have played the Stanley Cup Finals on it.
Same.
And God bless the folks who got the salt
is
out.
less severe grade than mine. Mine is.
It is, and you can bail, but it's nuts. I don't recall this a lot growing up. I don't ever remember this in Montana. In all the years I've been in Ohio since 2007, I don't recall this as much. I feel like we've had this twice in the last month.
Yeah, in fact, I would say that one was the worst. On Sunday, my Arden and Bryce had to go to getting ready for their big show that's coming up this weekend. So they had to go at like 10 a.m., and I went out as the good father that I am.
Sure you did.
With the scraper and scraped all the windshields off, but I couldn't even get it off the front, so I had to get the car on, defrost a little bit, and then was able to chip away at it. But I had to do it with one hand while holding, because
it's crazy.
I put my garbage at the top, and without the wheels even really rolling, it just slid down.
It's wild.
It's nuts.
It is. Hopefully, it's been mostly sunny today, so hopefully it's going to melt.
It's coming back Wednesday night, and then Saturday and Sunday now.
I mean, this is crazy. You lived here your whole life.
Not this
You ever
much
live
ice.
with this?
Cold?
Of course. Cold's
and
in the
snow,
brochure.
Absolutely. Not this much ice.
Not raining ice.
Not raining ice. What the hell, man?
I went out, and when it was happening, put my hand out there, and it was just like, it was like all mini hails.
I've had.
But then it just immediately, it was kind of like the Terminator. Remember Terminator 2? When you'd cut off his arm and it would all like go together, like all the mercury would go together. It was like that. It just like would merge, and then it was just like frozen solid. It was very strange.
It's not ideal, man.
No. It's rare to see like a dog not know how to like walk. Buddy Garrity is a mess. I mean, first time he went tearing out, when I put him out, he fell right on his face, and then popped back up. But now he's like walking like,
Yep.
Dad, I'm not certain.
Oh, my youngest is like, you go out there.
Yeah.
Why don't you go to the bathroom
You
out
go
there, you
handle it.
dummy?
It was awful.
I will tell you,
awful.
The official Nana won't walk down the driveway. Don't blame her.
No.
And so she will go in the garage, take Asa Woody into the car with her, drive down the driveway, park her car, take Asa out, and then they go on their walk.
I don't blame her.
No, smart.
If
I'm
you have
glad
a
she's
steep
doing
drive.
No.
Yeah, it is a steep driveway.
It was a steep slope for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And they fell all the way off. All right. Do you
All
want
right,
to do Eagles, greatness, or the Chiefs, which has about 1,000 different kind of subtext to it?
Let's do it all. We got 2 hours.
Which do you want to start with?
I think you have to
The winners
start
go
with
the
victors.
spoils.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we were talking about this before the show. I think this is the model organization in the NFL the last quarter century. I think it's Philly. Never really fallen off. They've won 2 Super Bowls. They've played in 4. They've always been good. They've had a bunch of different coaches. They've had a bunch of different quarterbacks. They've had a bunch of different leaders. And yet there's not many times they bottomed out. They land their draft picks. They've been relevant throughout a bunch of different administrations. Always good. And they don't have the cheat code of Brady or Mahomes or Manning. Like, they didn't have that cheat code at quarterback. They've had a bunch of good ones, and Jalen's really, really good. And he has a specific set of skills that nobody else in the league has, as you put out last week. Like, to start every series 1st and 9 is an unbelievable advantage, and they have that.
And he's also somebody was yelling at me on Twitter last night and was like, "See, you don't need an elite quarterback." And I said, "Well,
good Lord. Actually, he is.
I have to
quite
tell you
elite.
something. He is elite.
Yeah.
And he's an unbelievable dual threat. I said he's the best short yardage quarterback in the NFL. They start 1st and 9 because of him. And in the 2 seasons in which they went to the Super Bowl, he threw 40 touchdowns with 11 picks, had a 100-plus rating both seasons, and averaged 68% completions. And so not only is he elite, and that doesn't even include what he did from a rushing touchdown standpoint in those seasons, where he is, arguably the most dominant goal line back in the league. In the 2 seasons they went to the Super Bowl, he rushed for 27 touchdowns as well.
Yeah.
So when you look at what he's doing as a whole, so let me just quick do the math. So that's 67 touchdowns total on offense and 11 picks. I'm sure he's lost some fumbles along the way, but 67 touchdowns in those 2 seasons, 11 picks, over a 100 rating, 68% completions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's rushed for 1,400 yards.
Right. Yeah.
So he is elite. Now, would you say that you don't necessarily want him to have to play a come-from-behind type of a script? That's fair. I understand that, and that's what makes the Brady's or the guys of that ilk different. The Joe Montana's highest quarterback rating. By the way, his quarterback rating in the Super Bowl is 127.8. No big deal. Nobody's even close.
That's good.
Hurts's in the 2 games is 110. Mm-hmm. He's been really good, and I thought it was very telling when you look at one of the big plays against Washington. It was a 3rd down and long. They dialed up the one-on-one on the outside to A.J. Brown. He threw an absolute dime, and that helped kind of seal that game. And then in this one, opening drive, 4th and a good long 2, they line up in shotgun. He throws a dime again. Horrific call of OPI on A.J. Brown.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely horrific. Let them play. It's the Super Bowl. But that was a dime again. What was he, 70% completions in this game? Or 75?
He's 17 to 22.
So yeah, better than 75.
Yeah.
He was
17
great.
to 22, 221, 2 touchdowns.
And led them in
pick.
rushing.
Also had 72 yards on the ground. No, he is elite.
Yes, he
is elite. In the 2 Super Bowls, he's outplayed Mahomes.
Mahomes in his
Mahomes is terrible.
Mahomes has 7 touchdowns and 7 picks in 5 Super Bowls.
Well, he had the disaster against Tampa, which probably
so he's had 2 disastrous games.
2 disastrous Super Bowl games, which is pretty wild.
Very wild.
Yeah. No, it was. I think it's really important to understand too. Like, to win a Super Bowl, you have to have an excellent front office that drafts really well. So that's the first thing you got to have. The second thing is you need a little bit of luck, and they got a little bit of luck in last in Jalen Hurts. They passed on Jalen Hurts. He was picked 53rd overall in the draft. Everybody could have had him. And nobody, if anybody knew that he was this, they all would have taken him.
Of course,
nobody knew he was this. This is a guy who was benched at halftime of a national championship game 8 years ago. Who was then? We got a little coffee.
Look at a little Monday.
Oh
man,
yeah, nice. Yeah, of course. I like how he's got
those?
I like he's got
my.
the small cup
Stop.
on the coffee.
Stop.
Look at that.
Just a sip.
Casual.
Just a
Casual.
It's casual. Yeah.
Casual Monday.
Casual Monday.
This is Super Bowl
shack
reaction.
it. Just a little shack it.
That's right.
No big
Pops
deal.
it. Oh, jeez. Just why not? Watch it coming through here. Big. That was a big. Oh, look at this.
Oh, look at this. Look at a little different.
A little different.
Same, but different.
Same. Very, very different. No. So it takes a little bit of luck.
Not to mention,
you have to have an elite quarterback. You have to. He's elite.
He's top 10 in the league.
Of course he is. Last year, he was a front runner for MVP until the wheels fell off for them the second half of the season.
Yeah, and the year before that,
they were
he was
11-0.
second. The year before that, he was second in the MVP. So last year,
come on, he's been in the mix for a long time. He's much closer to Lamar Jackson than he is to some game manager.
Yes,
in terms of what he does statistically.
Yes. Last year, they were 10-1. They went 1-6, including the playoffs down the stretch. They went from 10-1 to 11-7.
Right.
People kind of they started this year 2-2.
When you guys went there, weren't they going to fire Sirianni?
Yes,
wasn't that the
he's
talk?
yelling at people in the crowd. He's fighting fans.
That was our game.
Yeah. By the way, we played them closer than I think anybody the rest of the way.
Here's another thing that's really interesting about this big picture. If we did a power ranking of the NFL, and a lot of times we would on higher or lower.
You're going to do that tomorrow. You guys are going to give me your top 12 teams.
By the way, great. But
separate email.
I look forward to that. I just want to say this. How many times would any of us have said Philly's in the top 3? We wouldn't have. All year it had been Baltimore, Detroit. It had been every once in a while you might even
Kansas
get
City,
a Buffalo
Buffalo
or a Kansas City. Philly was never mentioned as the best team in football.
Well, no,
they never got blown out. Even their 3 losses, they didn't get blown out. Every game they played was close. They only lost 3 games all year.
They were 2-2, and they are 16-1 over their last 17 games.
Nobody ever looked at them as the best team in football. We always, it's Detroit, it's Baltimore, it's Kansas City, but they're the Chiefs. They got Mahomes. Nobody ever had them, and they were dominant. They dominated Washington. They dominated Kansas City.
Yes.
Like, so it's a little lesson to, like, who you think is great. Like, you just don't know.
They were in the top, by the middle of the season, they were in the top 6.
Of course, but they were never on anybody's list as the best
Number
team
1.
in football.
No.
I don't think they were ever on anybody's list in the top 3.
No.
It was always Detroit, Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore, obviously.
Yep.
Those were the ones.
Yeah, but they most certainly were on the biggest stage in this one, and it makes me happy because I was getting a little nervous. I don't often do a mark my words, but I said mark my words after we played the Chiefs, they will not win the Super Bowl this year, and that's what happened.
Well, you had to sweat that one out. I
was a little nervous. I was a long time on that one. But
all right, let's do their side of it then.
But I was
we'll
right.
have more on the Eagles side of it too, because it is. But it's a combination of they are the most talented team in the NFL. We have said that a lot. They were the most talented team in football, top to bottom. They were in the right place at the right time, like on the A.J. Brown. Like somehow A.J. Brown becomes available and they're ready to pounce on it.
The GM of the Titans fired.
That's right. Yeah. So all of a sudden he became available, and then a little bit of luck. Like you fall into Jalen Hurts. Sure. The Saquon thing too. Like Saquon for a bucket of balls. I mean, we remember the Hard Knocks owner. I don't want him in Philly.
And he almost went to Chicago.
Right. I know it. So all of those things, that's how you get what you get on their side of it. All right. On the Kansas City side, I think it might be, I was trying to think of this on the way in here today. Is this the worst and all-time great has ever played on a big stage? What are your contenders?
It's the worst.
He was god-awful.
It's the worst he's played.
He was god-awful. Just think on the top of your head.
So I would have to think that in the game in which you're saying an all-time great?
I'm saying an all-time great. Like someone who you say, you can't write the history of the sport without that guy.
Okay. So I think of John Elway. Comes to my mind, and then they got beat 55-10, so he couldn't have played.
But here's the thing. He hadn't already won Super Bowls, and at that time, nobody thought he was better than Montana. Nobody did.
So that takes out the Peyton versus Seattle.
That's the best one I thought of was Peyton versus Seattle. They got ran in that game.
Yeah.
So Elway had been an MVP before that game.
But they hadn't won a Super Bowl.
No, but I mean, he was
MVP of the league.
In 1987, he was MVP of the league.
That's wild. I don't remember anybody thinking he was better than Montana.
Maybe not better, but he was. I mean, it's John Elway. John Elway was considered
but
the
their teams weren't on this level. They hadn't won anything. I think everybody went into those games going, the championship game was already played in the NFC. He's one I thought of. Peyton Manning's one I thought of first when they lost to Seattle. He wasn't particularly great in that game. They were down big at half and got away from them. And then all sports I was trying to think of, like just monster great player on a big stage.
All right,
LeBron 2011 finals.
So let me just say, just for John Elway, just for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
So in 1989, that's Elway's third Super Bowl appearance in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he had to be regarded pretty well. Here's what he did in the Super Bowl.
Not giving that man any credit.
In his first one, 59% completions, 304 yards, touchdown, a pick. His next two, he gets beat 42-10 by Washington. Elway completes 36% of his passes and throws 3 picks. Then he gets beat 55-10 by the Niners, completes 38% of his passes for 108 yards, 2 picks, and a quarterback rating of 19.
Pretty bad.
19. Peyton is I think those are the two. Both Broncos. How about that? Goff wasn't on that level when they got held to 3 points.
And I don't know that you have to go look. Have the G-men look this up. What were the Elway Broncos in the 3 Super Bowls they played in? How big underdogs were they? I know they weren't favored in any of them. Maybe the first one they were. All
right, so Peyton loses 43-8. I'll look that up in a second. But he completed 70% of his passes for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Yeah, but
that's
the
not
picks
even. I mean,
death. One was a pick 6 to Malcolm Smith. He took a safety on the very first possession.
Not great. We're not having 38% and a rating of 19.
No, different era too. like
For
I mean,
sure.
it's bad, but like that first one you gave was actually a great Super Bowl quarterback line at that time. The 60%, 300 and some yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
Yeah, that was
actually
very
a
good.
very good
Yeah.
1980s quarterback line
The
number.
next two, though, were in his next two Super Bowl appearances, he threw. Let's see if I can find Super Bowl spreads. In the next two Super Bowl appearances, so this is Washington and the Niners. He loses those two games 97-20, and he completes 37% of his passes and throws 5 picks.
All right, here are
That's
your
pretty
didn't anticipate going down this road, but here
I
are
like
your Broncos lines. All right, so the first one would have been Broncos Giants. Giants favored by 9.5.
Big.
The second one he was in, this is
Washington.
pretty wild. Broncos were favored in that game by 3, and Washington beat the
42-10.
brakes off of them.
Yep.
And then your Niners were favored by 12. So they were big underdogs in 2 of the 3.
For sure.
Very big underdogs in this one versus, this one was 1. I mean, there's a Niners-Chargers line that was 18.5. That's
Yeah,
your
that was
boy
Stan
Steve
Humphries.
Young.
Humphries.
Yeah, Cowboys were 13.5-point favorites over the Steelers the next year. Packers by 14 over the Patriots the next year.
That's when it was just a joke.
It was just a joke of a Super Bowl. We haven't had anything like that in a long, long time.
This year was the first one. We had 3 straight with 3 points.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the worst performance for an elite, established player, quarterback. Forget it. Like I even think like Kobe went 6-24 in a finals game in a game 7.
Yeah.
But they won the series. And Kev got in my ear 2011 LeBron. That's probably one, but he hadn't won a championship yet in Miami when he was refusing to back down JJ Barea. Like there's
was
some of
just
those that are just weird.
Standing in the corner.
This was Mahomes. Like you can talk about the offensive line, and I know it was bad. He didn't look right.
He was
He was-
short-arming it.
it was like
he was
he had the
short-arming
yips.
the ball. He had the yips. That's what it did. That's exactly what it looked like. He had the yips. That's exactly what it looked like. Yeah.
So they went 17-0 in one-score games all season.
It's unsustainable.
And they just got bombed. Now, this is one other thing I had to deal with. So, start of the game, Beamsy goes, Chiefs are going to call tails and win the toss, and they're going to defer. And I said, oh? He goes, oh, yeah. I saw the script. I said, you saw the script? He goes, yeah, there's a script for the Super Bowl, Dad. It's already predetermined. And I said, oh, it is.
No,
I said, where are you getting this? And he goes, YouTube Shorts. And I go, YouTube Shorts, huh? That's where you're getting it? I go, you think some schmuck on YouTube knows the script of the Super Bowl? So all of them are arguing with me, and the NBC's like doing it to get under my skin. He's like, Dad, it's all scripted. Da, da, da. Everything's known. Everything's predetermined. I'm like, oh. And then I start to get mad. So I'm like, I just can't have you guys being this stupid.
Yep.
And I don't think
This is multiple times, by the way.
yeah,
This
they know it
post-
bugs me.
post-
NBC knows it bugs me. He knows it's nonsense, but he knows it bugs me. So like he just keeps needling me with it. Meantime, like really smart people who they start coming at me with it scripted. So coin toss, Chiefs call it tails. They defer. Beamsy goes, I told you. I'm going, oh, for God's sakes. So it's 24-0. I'm like, it's over. It's done. They're like, no. Just going to set up. The NFL wants Mahomes to be the greatest player in NFL history, and this is going to be his 28-3. It's going to be 31-27. I go, I will bet you anything you want I will give you the Eagles. You give me the Eagles. You get the Chiefs. I bet you anything you want. It's done. You can't get 31 points when you can't get a first down, man.
Yeah, fair.
So I am arguing with these people, both people via text and my own children, who, oh yeah, it's scripted.
So what'd they say when it ended this way?
Well, the only retort is, well, good, we wanted the Eagles to win anyway. So either way, they win.
But is it scripted? That's what I would.
No,
Geniuses.
it's not.
No, it's
Evil
not.
geniuses. By the way, the complete list of teams to fail to cross midfield on their first 9 drives of a game this season, Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's it.
It's crazy.
They had 11 yards on the opening play to Juju Smith-Schuster and ended the first half with 20 yards, I think.
It's impossible to be this inept.
Impossible.
They were just ill-prepared on all fronts to handle the pressure, the 4.
And
they just couldn't do it. And I don't know if he couldn't. It'd be interesting to watch the All-22 to see if there was stuff out there that he missed or if he wasn't seeing it. Like one of the PFF guys was like, yeah, he's not seeing the field. So maybe there was stuff. I mean, it's hard because it's so tight.
It
So
didn't
I
look
don't
like
know.
it. It did, like on some of the replays that they showed, it certainly did not look like there were guys running free. I mean, the one that he missed, the DeAndre Hopkins didn't even really try to catch, was so weird. Where they finally had a bust in the coverage.
Oh, the DeAndre Hopkins guy that dropped everything and then still blamed the officiating after the game in the locker room?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Did
By
he?
the way, bigger disappearing act, Amari Cooper or Hopkins?
I think Amari's is more stunning. D-Hop was kind of
He
trending
was
in this direction,
definitely,
but like
yes.
Amari to go from like what he was last year to like
1,250 last
not
year.
being like the dude in Buffalo when
Yeah.
we traded him there is pretty shocking. Yeah, it's funny. Like, you know, you hear people talk about like, well, this is why the Chiefs, and I'm like, dude, they won 2 Super Bowls and played for 3, something nobody's done consecutively. They won 2 Super Bowls while transitioning away from Tyreek Hill into this version of them. They'll be fine. They're going to be back in the mix. They'll be back in the mix with this group. They'll draft. They'll hit. They'll be back.
Well, they have to hit because they haven't hit on those late first
On the
rounders.
offensive linemen, they definitely
Well,
haven't. And they can't run
No, but
it.
like Karlaftis was a good pick. Xavier Worthy seems like he's
Yeah.
a player.
Who is the corner they let walk?
L'Jarius Sneed, who went
Yeah.
to Tennessee.
Who was their best corner last year? They
Well,
missed
McDuffie's
everything.
first team All-Pro.
Right, but Snead was dang good too. And
Yeah.
you just can't keep everything.
All right, I got one for you that I feel like you have a better chance that I would like to go through. So I saw this on Twitter, and I do not know the answers to
All right,
it.
go.
Devontae Smith is one of 5 players who have won.
Ugh, we had this for later in the show.
Oh, it's
That's
later
all
in the
right.
show?
No,
Save it,
you're
save
good.
it.
You already know it, so you're good.
I don't know it. I don't know it.
He's the 4th player. I read that he was the 5th. He's the 4th.
4th for all 3.
So Heisman,
Super Bowl national
national title, and a Super Bowl.
All right. You want me to do this now?
Sure.
All right. We're going to do 4 of them. So Devonta's one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reggie Bush. Did he get a Super Bowl with the Saints? Or was he already gone?
We had this discussion. I might have screwed up the G-Man on this if he did, but I don't
He
think
definitely won a
did.
national title. He definitely won the Heisman.
Correct.
And I thought he was with the Saints when they won it.
Okay, so
But I could be wrong.
Then
I don't
it is
know.
one of 5, and I've screwed that up.
It is 5. Yep.
So
Reggie
my
got it?
apologies. G-Man, my apologies.
All right. So Devonta, Reggie.
Okay.
It's not on G-Man.
Super Bowl national championship. I don't think Leinart did. He would have been part of that. I mean, there could be. Do you have any more off the top of your head? If I had the Heisman
We have
list,
them
I
if
could
you
do-
need them.
No. I should be able to. I'll tell you what. Do you have the era? Do we have? Can we do era?
They've got to be older, right? Mark Ingram.
You'd have to go back further.
Mark Ingram won a national championship, won the Heisman. Did he win a Super Bowl? Was he on the Saints?
Was he on the Saints Super Bowl team?
Is Mark Ingram one?
No.
No, so he did not.
No, you
Chucky Wood.
Huh?
Chucky Wood.
Yes.
Charles Woods. Oh, do you have the Heisman list up?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'd be helpful.
Yeah.
It'd be quite helpful to do that. I'm pretty sure I could get it pretty quickly then.
Desmond Howard.
Yes. Won a Super Bowl with the Packers. Did not win a national title.
Correct.
Nope. Tim Brown.
No.
Not a national title
No
either.
national title.
He left in 87.
Marcus Allen.
Marcus
Yes.
Allen would have for sure.
So Marcus Allen, Reggie Bush, Chucky Wood, Devontae Smith. And there's one more we're missing.
Yes.
OJ?
No.
Oh, no, he didn't win a
Tony
Super Bowl.
Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett.
Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
So
Tony
how about
Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson, Devonta Smith, and Reggie Bush.
so no quarterback has ever done it.
Burrow got close.
Has ever done it. That's amazing. You got a wide receiver, 3 running backs, and 1 defensive player.
Yeah. Now, Jalen Hurts is damn close. He finished second in the Heisman to Burrow. But, yeah, that's pretty wild.
Would he? I mean, I guess he would get credit. He was on the team, but he was benched in the one they won, right?
He was benched in the one that he won, but he was the SEC Player of the Year.
Totally.
No, that was his freshman year. His sophomore year is when he was benched. Yeah, he was benched his sophomore year at Alabama, but he was a quarterback all the way.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. So Tua came in the second half, and Tua made the throw to Devonta Smith. Honestly, that's pretty amazing. Like he caught the walk off
Walk off
in the national championship game on 3rd and 60, and then he caught a Super Bowl. He had a touchdown last night in the Super Bowl. That's a charmed life. That's a very, very charmed life. Do we want to do the halftime thing now, or do you want to save that till later?
Let's save that for later.
Okay, we'll save that till later. We also want to pay homage and rest in peace to Dick Geron, Browns defensive coordinator from 2011-2012. He passed away over the weekend after a battle with brain cancer. He was just 74. Longtime coach of the Bears as well. Before my time here, probably before your time here too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
His defenses were pretty good on some otherwise very rough Browns football teams.
Yeah. All right. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. We have much, much more on the Super Bowl. We'll get into the commercials, get into the halftime show, the presentation, the broadcast, all of it. Coming up next, however, a quick detour. One of the teams that Patrick Mahomes is trying to trace down, and specifically a player he's trying to chase down, is Tom Brady and New England. They've been wayward since Brady left. Perhaps they have their quarterback now, though. We continue our tour around the AFC in New England. Bob Socci, radio voice of the Patriots, will join us coming up next. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. We continue our off-season reviews / previews for the off-season, and we head out on the Twisted Tea Hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He is Bob Socci. He is the play-by-play voice of the New England Patriots. So as that goes the way that it went last night, Bob, is there pleasure? Is there happiness in New England that the Brady Mahomes train can be stopped and that can be put to rest for 3 to 5 years? What is kind of the sense of Patriot fans with that one going the way it went last night?
Yeah, I would say that more than one article today on local websites and in the Boston Globe, and certainly more than one take on local sports talk radio has put any notion of a debate here at least to rest after yesterday. And I think, the strong sentiment even going into yesterday is that regardless of what happened, what the Chiefs have done is remarkable, and especially would be had they won yesterday. But nonetheless, Brady was still number one, the Patriots dynasty, because of the 2 decades, the different generations of players, et cetera. For me, there's still a long way to go before that debate is settled. Mahomes is just entering his prime, and the Chiefs will bounce back. They'll be at the top of the AFC next year, along with Buffalo and the teams like the Houston Texans that have moved up in the last year or two. So I think that's probably going to be an ongoing conversation for years to come.
The conversation for the Patriots is, how do we get back to those glory days? And some people certainly think we'll start with the quarterback position that Drake May showed a lot of promise in this rookie season. 66% completions, 15 touchdowns, 10 picks, showed the ability to make some plays with his legs as well. What did you think of Drake May, given the fact that he was surrounded by probably one of the bottom tier skill groups in the NFL?
Yeah, and I would add to that, he was protected or was not protected by one of the bottom tier, if not the worst tier offensive line. And I was thinking about last night and the effect on a quarterback like Mahomes, and we've seen it before on that stage, including with Brady against that great Giants defensive line when a quarterback is under continuous duress, harried throughout. The greatness is diminished. And, Mahomes yesterday certainly, was overwhelmed at times by that Philadelphia offensive line. And watching the Patriots this past year, what most impressed me about Drake May is the way that he was able to hold up in a lot of situations when he felt similar kind of pressure. It was really relentless for the Pats quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett and Drake May, from really week 2 on. They did a pretty good job against Cincinnati in the first game. Of course, as we saw as the year went along, the Bengals defense was certainly their weakness. But from the quarterback position as a rookie to go into his first start against Houston in around week 6 or 7, I believe, Drake May, from that point on, he had gone a long way to become starter ready in terms of his footwork, in terms of his mechanics. And of course, the former Browns offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, no longer with the Patriots, did a wonderful job in developing him. We knew the physical skills were there coming in to the NFL, the arm strength, the athletic ability, the ability to run, the ability to make some off-platform throws. But he had a lot of mechanical work to do. And certainly on top of that, there's all the intangibles and then the mental part of it, processing, running a pro offense, getting in and out of the huddle, making play calls, handling snaps under center, things that he did not have a lot of experience in, if any at all, coming out of North Carolina. And then, you factor in an offensive line that just could not protect him throughout, and yet he can continue to hold up and make plays and make progress as the year went along. And for them now, the next pieces in place have to be on the offensive line, and you referenced the skill group, their wide receiver specifically for him.
Bob, you've obviously got a chance to talk to him. What about Drake May? Because anytime you have this conversation about the Patriots in the offseason, you go, well, they got quarterback figured out. They took him high. They've taken other quarterbacks high post Tom Brady. What is it about him that makes the organization and you believe that he can be all that is required of that position in that town? Like, are there intangible stuff that you've picked up on from him?
Yeah, I think the intelligence is certainly there. And, that was the case with Mac Jones, too, who is that other quarterback in between Brady and him, drafted high, first-round pick, number 15 overall, but certainly with a much lower ceiling than Drake May physically. And we knew that even when Mac played well and showed a lot of promise in his rookie season. But I think what really has fans here, what has those of us who've covered the team a lot more optimistic about Drake May, are some of the things that I think you're probably thinking of when you say intangibles. It's the natural leadership, the authenticity that comes across. There's an all shucks way about him coming from North Carolina, but he's a really bright kid, but he's also very humble. He showed the Patriots in their draft preparation that despite playing with, at times, an inferior cast around him in North Carolina, he never threw a teammate under the bus, and that was one of the things that Elliott Wolf singled out when he was asked about Drake May's mental makeup. How do you think he'll fare adjusting to the NFL, especially if there's adversity? And they were really impressed with the way May took accountability for his own actions, but also took accountability for his teammates. And we saw that throughout this past year or two. There were no excuses for him, even though there could have been a lot of excuses. When I referenced the offensive line and the wide receivers that couldn't get separation, guys who just couldn't make plays in the passing game with any consistency. Drake May never called those guys out, never showed his frustration with them. It was always about himself. And then I think, there's just the toughness, the youngest of four boys, and maybe that's overplayed a little bit, but coming from an athletic family, having grown up in a household where they were competing all the time, there is that competitive zeal. We saw it at the Pro Bowl games as well, winning the ping pong tournament, the way he seemed to earn the respect of some of the star players around the league, like Micah Parsons, making sure that they got his phone number before he left. So I think, he's a kid that came into the league with the proper mindset of humbleness, knew his place. He was deferential to Jacoby Brissett, but at the same time, he had to really be driven to make the strides that he made from the end of training camp to his first start, and certainly by the end of the season. And then along the way, throughout the course of his tenure as the starting quarterback, just the leadership, and I would say as well, the accountability, and probably taking on too much accountability for himself in terms of the toughness mentally and physically that he showed.
Well, you want toughness, you are going to get it. Mike Vrabel, who was certainly spent a year here, was one of the great Patriots. He's back. He's the head coach. Josh McDaniels is the offensive coordinator. What's old is new again in New England. I'm sure this had to be met with tremendous fanfare and general approval. Vrabes was great here. I think, obviously, what he did in Tennessee speaks for itself. But how excited are people there, and what do you make of those moves to bring back very familiar faces in Mike Vrabel and then Josh McDaniels for that quarterback, Drake May?
Yeah, and I mentioned the word accountability, and I think for a lot of people, they know there will be accountability now, and that's what gives them hope. Mike, like his predecessor as Patriots head coach, Rod Mayo, a linebacker, and a guy that was very popular as a Patriots player, but unlike Rod Mayo, takes over with a track record, and a track record in particular faring well against the Patriots, going back to 2018, showing the kind of toughness that I think we're going to come to expect, that we do expect, and hopefully we come to discover, even as early as the training camp next summer, for the Patriots. Because I go back to 2018, the Patriots wound up winning the Super Bowl that year, and they traveled to Nashville for a regular season game. On the very first play, Kenny Vaccaro sent a message to New England. It was a hit in the backfield on James White, and Tennessee wound up, really clobbering the Patriots that day. And then, of course, a year later in the wild card, the Titans went into Foxborough and beat Tom Brady in his last start as a Patriots quarterback. And, that was the end of the New England dynasty, if you will. And, Vrabel played as such a resourceful, smart, tough football player, a guy that was an outstanding defender, could play inside if he needed to late in his career as a Patriot, of course, come off the edge and make plays, including a big hit on Kurt Warner to force an interception in Super Bowl 36. He was an outstanding special teams player. He was a guy that could play on offense and certainly, has an important place in Patriots history as a tight end and touchdown recipient during the course of his career. So I think about, the playing experience he had in all those phases, but also the experience now that he comes to New England with from Cleveland, where he spent more time with the offensive staff, where he spent a little bit of time as well with the front office with Andrew Berry. And I think he's evolved as a coach by his own admission since the year that he spent with Kevin Stefanski and the staff there in Cleveland. And so I think what we're going to see, what we hope to see here in New England, is same old Mike Vrabel, but kind of a new and improved Mike Vrabel too. And I think the same goes with Josh McDaniels, because he's going to have a lot of people on his staff that Mike Vrabel had a strong say in their hiring. You had Thomas Brown and Doug Marrone and other coaches that are coming here. Tony Deuce, who's been with Vrabel. He was with Vrabel in the past. And they're not Josh McDaniels' guys. They're not guys who came up through the Patriot pipeline the way offensive assistants had been in the past. And so I think it's going to be a different offense. I think Josh is going to be smart enough to try to tailor the offense to Drake May, but there are going to be some influences in terms of schematics and how they do things that I think will produce a new and improved version in that phase as well. So for the Patriots, Vrabel's the right guy at this time. This was a team that was really staggering down the stretch last season, suffering from really the anger of fans. The team was booed when it won its last game because the Patriots, by doing so, lost control of the number one pick. The stadium was half full the last 2 weeks. It was just not a good state of affairs here. And I think Mike Vrabel is someone that's coming in already, I think, given the fans at least a sense, okay, now they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, you can feel it. The impact will be, you know him well. We know him. It's going to be immediate for sure. Just the tone difference. Bob, thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate you.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Anytime.
All right, there he is, the voice of the New England Patriots, Bob Socci, joining us on the Twisted Tea Hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. This felt like the only thing I don't know is I wonder if Mike would have taken the job, because he could have. He could have just gone if it would have been open, but they had a coach in waiting in Mayo. But, I don't know if that was really made public. It came out kind of later. Would Mike have taken that job if he didn't know what Drake May was? I think probably no.
Probably not. And I think that he had said all along it was very important to him to get an opportunity to understand not just more on the coaching side of things, but to understand front office side of things. And I think so he didn't want to be in a position where what happened in Tennessee would ever happen again. And I think so that was very important for him to do that. So I think he kind of wanted that year of a reset, and he got exactly what he wanted. I mean,
he got to go home.
Yes.
He gets a young stud quarterback.
Yep.
He's got a ton of cap space, and now they get picks.
And at 4, they can get, if it goes quarterback, they have a chance to get Abdul Carter or Hunter.
Yeah.
Or T-Mac. I mean, they're in a very good spot.
Yeah, they can get a lot of weapons. They can be active in free agency. A lot of people have them going with T. Higgins landing there. So you get Higgins and you get Hunter. Or there's a lot of ways you could go. They can be very nimble in this build, and Mike will benefit from that tremendously. But it does seem like everything heading in the right direction in New England. All right, coming up next, we'll play some of our favorite calls of Super Bowl 59 and reflect a little bit much more on that game. In fact, you have that to look forward to, which is nice. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today and get $50 in bonus bets when you place your first bet of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Here are this is always fun. I love that you do this every year, Gibby. Here are some of our favorite calls of the Super Bowl. Many of these will be on 94 WIP out of Philadelphia. So here is the Cooper DeJean pickoff of Mahomes that went 38 to the house.
Back goes Mahomes. He's rushing. He's looking. It's intercepted. It's intercepted. Running with the football to the 25. Down the far side is DeJean. And DeJean is in for a touchdown.
Happy birthday, Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean with a touchdown.
There you go.
So is it DeJean?
It's DeJean. It's DeJean. I said it wrong.
They're both going back and forth.
I think it's DeJean. It's Cooper DeJean. Yeah. Hit your thing.
Happy 22nd birthday, son.
But that honestly could have been he could have fair caught it. I mean, it was like he threw it right to him.
Yeah, didn't see him.
Here is Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown for 12 yards on the touchdown to give Philly the 24th. This is when I said it's done. I said, how's your script looking now, boys? This is on 94 WIP.
Hurts is back. Hurts has plenty of time. He's looking. He fires. He completes it. Touchdown! A.J. Brown!
Fantastic execution of the offense. You get A.J. Brown on the crosser, and he just runs away from the secondary.
So easy, so well designed, effortless, very good, very well done.
Here is Mahomes, again on 94 WIP, his second interception, and this one was right to Zach Bond. It was right to him. Hit him right in the number.
Standing at the one. Mahomes is back. He steps up. He fires over the middle, and it's intercepted again. It's intercepted by Zach Bond.
Yeah, this is pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes just gets that hot potato out of his hand.
That one he kind of got hit as he threw, but still, like, that was nowhere near anybody on the Chiefs. There's some weird throws.
Yes, very. Here is Travis Kelce becoming the all-time leader in Super Bowl receptions on 96.5 The Fan. Mitch Holthus on the call.
Mahomes down 40-6. Will have first and 10 at his own 25-yard line after the kickoff return by Nico Remigio. Mahomes, quick pass, caught by Kelce at the 35-yard line, a gain of 10 yards, and now Travis Kelce has the most catches by any pass catcher in Super Bowl history, just passing Jerry Rice.
It is so sobering to hear the Chiefs 40-6, because it's 40-22, and that people will think it's closer than it was, because your memory, you forget the flow of these games.
Not even close.
It was never.
This is a beating.
40-6 is what it felt like.
Yep.
Let me ask you this on Travis Kelce. Good Cleveland boy. We love him. How much do you instantly regret what you decided to wear to the Super Bowl after you lose?
Probably pretty quickly.
I mean, like when he went back to his locker room and he's like, oh my God, that's right, I wore this.
It didn't.
I have to put this back on.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Patrick Mahomes wore an Eagles green suit.
I didn't see that. I didn't see Mahomes in that. I saw Kelce in like the Saturday Night Fever leisure suit. I'm thinking that's
Mahomes
tough.
wore green.
He wore green?
That's right.
Yeah, you might want to have
Was
a
that a
backup
Kermit the
outfit
Frog
coming out of the locker room.
Homage?
I don't
because
believe.
of his voice?
No, it kind of looked like the Eagles green.
All right, cut number 5. Here's Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith, 46, and this pretty much did it. More than did it.
In the pistol on the NFL logo from the Kansas City 46. Eagles take over first and 10. The shotgun snap, the fake handoff, and Hurts drops back 5, winds up, long arching pass down the middle. It's caught over the shoulder in the end zone. Touchdown, Smith. And that may make it insurmountable. 46-yard touchdown strike. 33-0 Eagles. Wow.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think like Kevin Harlan to do everything. I think he's great at everything. I think he's great at football. He's great at the NBA. Never heard him do baseball. But at those two, he's so good. So good. That was on Westwood 1. And here is the final call of the game on 94 WIP.
43, 42, 41. And the Eagles will snap it again. 33 seconds to go. And Pickett will take the football and take the knee. And that's going to round it up. We will count down these seconds for you.
That'll do it, boys
They
and
are
girls.
jamming the field. 18, 17, 16, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's over. The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. It's their second Super Bowl win in 7 years. What a game. What a season. What a team. The greatest Eagles team in modern history. Eagles fans, savor it and rejoice.
It's nice at the end.
Phenomenal, and he loves a countdown.
He
Loves
loves
the countdown guy.
himself a countdown. He gets lost in the countdown.
Gets
he
lost.
did.
Starts it too early.
Started
10.
too early, and then he also like his pace.
Yeah.
I got to pick it up and then slow it. Yeah. Look, that's good stuff, man.
Great.
They are an organization that was never in a Super Bowl until they made the one in Jacksonville when they lost to the Patriots, and they got in there, and now have made 4 and won 2 in the last 20 plus years.
Pretty good.
Jeremy Fowler put up a. How would you describe this embrace? Can you see that clearly between Jalen Hurts and Howie Roseman?
Tepid from the quarterback.
Same word. That's exactly the word.
Yeah.
Very tepid, right?
Yeah.
Fine. All right. Yeah. I hope my cigar doesn't burn out on your coat.
Yeah. That is warm
Not
as I would
warm.
have thought. No,
Not warm.
not as warm as I would have
At
thought.
all.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Second hour of the program. We'll go around the league. Had some big news over the weekend on the quarterback side of things.
Yes.
We will get to that. You'll hear from Shedeur Sanders from the NFL Draft, courtesy of his podcast with Kevin Clark. So you'll have that. Dion Sanders as well. You'll hear from him. Our favorite Super Bowl commercials. Our thoughts on the broadcast. We still haven't even done the halftime
We got
show.
a lot to get to.
Got a lot to get to here in the second hour. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Second hour, Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Much more on the Super Bowl in terms of the off-field stuff, broadcasts, commercials, things of that nature in just a second. First, though, we go around the league, presented by Leaf Filter, official gutter guard of your Cleveland Browns. The New York Jets, thanks to reporting by Jay Glazer, are expected to move on from quarterback Aaron Rodgers. In fact, in Glazer's reporting, he flew to New York for them to break up with him. So they flew him to New York, or he flew to New York, and then they said, it's not you, it's us.
Yeah.
Actually, it is you.
That didn't seem like that was ever going to be anyway.
No.
Aaron Glenn's
isn't
coming
that weird
in.
that he would, wouldn't you just call him and say, hey, dude?
Yeah, so Glazer reported did he fly there at their request, or did he fly there because he wanted to talk to them face-to-face and say,
I don't know.
Hey, let me know what the deal is. And they said, oh, okay, well, now that you're here, here's the deal.
Here, I'll read the report from Glazer.
Yeah, let's give me a little verbatim ski.
Aaron Rodgers flew back to New Jersey last week to meet with the Jets about his future with the team, only to be told that the team was moving on from him.
So that sounds like it was at his
decision to fly there, and
fly in. Hey, let's have a talk. Let's
have a
meet the
chat.
new people. And they're like, yeah, actually, we're not interested.
I'm going to give you the full list of teams that I think would make any sense for him logically, based on where they are as franchises, and also what you don't know what makes him tick. Who knows?
Sure.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, they're the number. They're by
number
far
one.
and away the prohibitive betting favorites right now to land him.
Makes all the sense in the world. Like everything else,
prohibitive favorites.
Yeah. Them. Here is the. I couldn't even think of a third. The only other one was us.
Let's go.
That's it. I couldn't think of anybody. I went
That's
through the whole league.
Soundbite every week. Come on.
Be so much fun.
We got content for days.
Year 2 coming back from the Achilles. Everybody says year 2, you're a lot better. It's
You
us
think
and them.
You think that's it?
That's it. I couldn't think of anybody else who needed a quarterback that he would also want to be a part of it. Like, just go through the league. AFC East, none. North, I mentioned the 2. South, there's nothing there. He's not going to want to play for Indy.
Tennessee.
Or Tennessee.
Indy?
Tennessee has
Indy,
no weapons.
I think he could play for.
Tennessee has no weapons. None. Maybe
Calvin
Indy.
Ridley.
Maybe Indy.
Indy, I think.
Maybe.
I think. I'd put him in the list.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't sense Indy either. In the AFC West, nobody that makes any sense unless he just wants to live in Las Vegas, which maybe could. NFC West, nothing. NFC South, nothing. NFC North,
New
nothing.
Orleans.
I think if they would have had McCarthy, but they're hiring
Seattle. If Seattle gets rid of Geno
Minnesota.
Smith.
Finish off the Brett Favre tour.
You really think like that? I don't think so. I don't think coaching-wise that makes sense. You have to have an established coach. You can't have a guy in year 2 who's trying to build his operation, and all of a sudden you torpedo it with that with Aaron coming. I mean, he's a force of personality. The Jets gave him control of the whole franchise. So, like, you got to have to me, this is the checklist. Veteran team, close, established coach who would be respected by Rodgers. That's those 3 things. To me, you have to have. Maybe I missed on Indy, but the rest I feel pretty strongly about. I don't think there's anybody else.
All right, so the next team odds are Steelers 1, Raiders 2, Niners 3.
Niners.
Did you just throw that in there purposely?
No, I'm reading
Niners.
this. These are the odds.
What are they not going to bring back Purdy?
These are
That would certainly change the quarterback.
sportsbetting.ag's odds.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, that happens.
Raiders.
When Brock Purdy hits the open market, let's go.
Steelers, Niners, Saints, Seahawks, Browns, Giants, Titans, Colts, Cowboys, Rams, if they trade Matt Stafford, which it sounds like his wife wants him out of there.
Why
Miami.
would she want him out of there?
She doesn't like what they're doing with Cooper Kupp.
Oh,
for
yeah,
God's sakes. She's all about the podcast.
Yeah, she was podding.
How many times, if you're Matthew, you're like, honey, I love you.
Please don't.
Please don't. Please.
Probably.
I'm begging you.
Probably
No win. No,
said it
there's
once.
no win
there's
here
no
for
win, and then
There's
he's
no win
like,
here
I'm not
for
fighting
us.
it anymore.
Yeah. We can't. This doesn't win for me when we do this stuff. Yeah, I don't buy a lot of those. To me, it's 2. It's Pittsburgh and us. I think everybody else. Vegas, I guess you could talk me into just lifestyle. It's a fun place to live. Maybe you'd want to live there and be a part of that. Pete Carroll's there, so
here,
maybe there's something.
All right, so this is from
That roster.
This is
They have Brock
DraftKings.
Bowers, though. They do have Brock Bowers.
Here's DraftKings.
Go ahead.
Steelers 1,
Yep.
Raiders 2, Niners 3, Vikings 4, Colts 5, Rams 6, Titans 7, Giants 8, Browns 9.
Vikings.
Vikings.
So, they let go of Darnold. They have him be the bridge to McCarthy for 1 year until McCarthy's healthy.
Let's go.
That would make some
Follow
sense.
the footsteps of Brett.
That would make some sense. He's not going to be a mentor for J.J. McCarthy, but
that would be nuts, though, if he went
to Minnesota.
Green Bay, Jets, Minnesota.
Just it would be. Pittsburgh's the one that it's the no-brainer, which is why they're
fine.
the favorite. I don't understand the Niners at all.
Me neither.
I guess they're just hedging, if they don't re-sign Purdy. Is he a true free agent, Purdy? Or can they just franchise him?
No, you could franchise anybody. So, yes.
He's not a free agent, though. Brock Purdy?
Why not? Hasn't he played 4 years?
I don't know. I'm asking. Hasn't Pedro sent you all the clips on this? What would make the 49ers not keep Brock Purdy?
I think they will.
Yeah, so I don't understand why they're third on any list.
So Brock Purdy is no, Brock Purdy's got 1 more year on his contract.
So what are we talking about?
Yeah.
The 49ers aren't moving off of Brock Purdy?
No, he's on a rookie deal. He's going to get an extension.
Of course.
But right now he's on a rookie deal with a cap hit of $5 million.
Yeah, they're not bringing in Aaron Rodgers when you have Brock Purdy. You don't do that.
No.
It's crazy. So I don't know. That seems silly to me. But it does. I think we all expected it. So it's Rodgers, Cousins, Danny Dimes,
Fields.
Russell Wilson, Fields, Darnold.
Where were they saying Russ was going?
I thought he was going to Vegas to play
Pete
for
Carroll.
Pete Carroll. Yeah.
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, that would seem to fit his lifestyle
Yeah.
a little bit better with Ciara as well. So, yeah. But it makes it more interesting, to say the least. Speaking of 49ers, Deebo Samuel and his agent have been granted permission from the Niners to seek a trade partner.
Yeah, you always kind of knew that was coming, and one of the reasons I say that is you just look at the Niners, and they made the big investment into Brandon Ayuk this past offseason. Debo's role was down. It feels like Debo almost, I wonder if he's kind of like Marion Barber a little bit. They've got plenty of space through the Niners, but it looks like they want to move. So Debo... If Debo were traded, it would have to be a post-June 1st designation, and that would have a $10 million dead cap and $5 million cap savings. So it'd save $5 million on the cap. To me, that feels like a net of -5, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading these right.
Some NFL news around the league. Mike Garafolo reporting the Cowboys are working to hire a former offensive coordinator right here, Ken Dorsey, to be their offensive coordinator down in Dallas. Not done yet. Role is being finalized, but Dorsey expects to join Brian Schottenheimer's coaching staff soon.
That is interesting.
So there you go. That is. Speaking of former Cowboys coordinators, Kellen Moore is set to be the new Saints coach, so that he is the offensive coordinator in Philly, and he will be the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Remember, Mike McCarthy was sitting this year out. He's going to sit this year out. Yep.
How did the Cowboys end up with Brian Schottenheimer?
I think we know why, but it's still stupefying to me. There was a level of being comfortable with Jerry, with him. He would do as Jerry wants and all of that. And then
I also
think
feel like he
Dak
doesn't
liked
want to. I feel like he also doesn't want to spend.
Maybe.
What's his contract?
Who's the last coach that he paid is probably Parcells.
Yeah.
McCarthy probably got a decent bump, but Jason Garrett didn't. He's never.
I don't
they've never
know.
done
He
that.
loved Jason Garrett like a son.
Here's what he loves. He loves discovering people. He loves finding that's they loved Kellen Moore because it was their guy. They found him.
So why wouldn't they make him
brought
the
him
head
up.
coach?
That's a great question. Why wouldn't they make him the head coach? Even like Romo, he was very quick to go all in behind Romo. He was a mid-round pick that they stumbled upon. I think maybe that's part of it. That's a wild staff, though.
So supposedly he is one of the lowest. Nobody knows the exact thing, but he is one of the lowest paid head coaches in the league, Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Liam Cohen got supposedly $14 million a year.
That's crazy. That's nuts. that like Shad Khan was like, no, he's absolutely the only guy that we can have for this job. And whatever it takes, fire the GM, give him $15 million. Is there a bidding war? No, sir, there isn't. Doesn't matter. Give him the money.
Well, there's no bidding war as a head coach. There's a bidding war in.
By the way, he wasn't on anybody else's radar,
No.
I think, except yours.
No, no, it's wild. So there you are around the league. One of the main stories here over the course of the next month will be, and certainly next couple weeks, will be Shedeur Sanders on his prep for the NFL draft. An extended conversation with Shedeur and Kevin Clark of ESPN. We'll have that for you coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Want to get your kids involved with the Dog Pound? Join the Junior Browns Backers presented by UH Rainbow Babies and Children's in association with Cardinal Credit Union, the Cleveland Browns official kids club for kids ages 4 to 12. Enjoy events, activities, and more. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. I'm actually going to save. We teased the Shedeur. We're going to save that for tomorrow. But we want to hear from his dad. So this is Coach Prime, Dion Sanders, on his son Shedeur, on Travis Hunter, on the draft process, and it's courtesy of our friends at the Rich Eisen Show.
I saw your
You're down 5.5.
Yeah. Where are we in the process at all?
Well, the thing about Shador, he's so prepared mentally, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. Like, he's the kind of kid, like, he got up this morning, goes to high school and get his work in. Then he'll come do all his media stuff that he has to do here.
Right.
But he works, man. Like, he works. Like, he drove, I think he left Texas midnight, got here at like 6:30, went straight to the field to work out. That's just how he gets down. That's how he moves. Brings his trainer, brings his team, and he gets out there and get it done. Goes to a high school, see the kids, and go out on the high school field and drive the kids crazy in school. Everybody's holding up their wrist, you know. But he really gets it. He's really ready to be the face of a franchise.
Do you have a sense of which franchise he will be the face of?
I think it's going to be one of the top three, for sure. I've spoken to all but one.
Right.
You know, that's the Titans. I haven't spoken to them yet, but he has. But the others I've spoken to.
Well, he was. Did you see Brian Callahan talked about Joe Burrow's arm?
Yeah.
When it comes to the door?
Forget the arm. He can spin it. We know he can spin it.
Right.
I mean, he has 4 years of film. So he's straight. Started every year in high school, started every year in college, but missed one game. So we understand what we're getting. It's no surprise what he is and who he is. I think he's the most qualified quarterback for that level and for what comes with that position in the face of a franchise than anybody in the draft.
And understands what the spotlight is coming and how
he was born into that.
No doubt.
Yeah, but he gets it. That's the thing about it. He gets it. I don't have to sit down and say, hey, man, you can't say this today. Like, he gets it.
And then you got Travis Hunter, too, man. He's unbelievable.
And he got it.
we had Sapp here the other day, and Sapp was saying that he's never seen anybody like him.
Yeah.
Ever. Anywhere.
Yeah.
He was mentioning people like Jerry Rice, Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Those were the names.
He's a truly gifted kid, and he knows he has those gifts, and he matures those gifts and works on them as well. But allowing him to do what he did was wonderful. Just think if I didn't make that decision, if I hadn't done that before, I couldn't fathom what we allowed him to do. So God prepared that table, man. Me being a two-sport guy, not only two-sport or both ways guys in the NFL, allows him to do that. So we would have got cheated out of one of those positions that we would have never got to see what we saw on the college level, man. So I'm happy that he chose to engage with me at Jackson State as well as come on over to Colorado.
First time you saw him, you knew it? I mean, like...
First time I saw him on the field, yeah.
You knew it. Like, this is...
He got it. Yep, he got it.
It's not just it.
Yeah.
It's a unicorn type.
Yeah, but it's the intelligence.
Right.
4.0 student, the want, desire, the passion for it. That's what I'm saying. You can't measure the heart, but he loves the game.
Right.
Does not care about the outside stuff or the parties, the trappings of life. He cares about the game and being great.
How many snaps does he play in the NFL per game?
Rich is easier. People forget that.
What do you mean?
You got huddles. You go to huddles. The next snap ain't till 45 seconds or more later.
Right.
College is tempo. Yeah. Go. Snap. Pros is huddles. He gets the rest a lot more. Then the game is not as physical. Nobody hitting nobody in the secondary no more. They laying them down or they going to get a penalty. Right? Am I right?
That's a good point.
Ain't nobody doing that.
Good point.
So the game is less physical than the college level, and it's less of the demand. Like, we practice, we work. We also gave him Tuesdays off, so he only had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But pros ain't doing that at practice no more. It's darn near a glorified walkthrough.
So, like 100 snaps? Do you think he could actually?
I think he could do what he did.
With you?
Yes.
At the next level?
Yes.
For how long?
For how long he wants to do it. We can't detect that. It's like a running back. How many snaps do they get? How many snaps does a dominant defensive tackle play?
Right.
Like, he could do it.
And in terms of one side, I mean, we asked Todd McShay the other day when he was at the Senior Bowl, the most explosive offensive player in the draft. He said Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And your words always resonate when I'm talking about this kid, that you don't want to be a coach standing on the sideline as your greatest offensive weapon when you're struggling on offense because you don't want to play too many snaps.
That's what you want to do. It's not playing too many snaps. They just don't know what to do. They've never done it. It's hard to fathom someone doing something you hadn't seen before. But we've given you glimpses of it with Patrick. I think Patrick Peterson did it a little bit. Dale Carter did it a little bit. I did it a little bit. I don't know who else played both ways in the NFL just enough. But this kid can do it every snap if you allow him to do it.
That's incredible to think that somebody could do that at the NFL level, what he did in college.
It would be remarkable.
Yeah.
Borderline. I mean, to think that he could do it for a whole – I just don't understand it. The conditioning's incredible.
Yeah, and you'd have to decide. I think whoever drafts him is going to have to make that decision of where is he more valuable. Is he more valuable being the full-time receiver, or is he more valuable being the full-time corner? And he's going to get paid more as the receiver. You know that. Marginally more. I mean, both of them are paid really well, but he'd be paid more as the receiver if he's elite at that, if we think he can be elite at both. He's an electric athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best receiver prospect and the best corner prospect in this draft. He's both of them.
Yeah.
But Dion might have been that if he were allowed to do this.
Sure.
You know?
I would
rare.
think I'd think you'd want to be a receiver and then you'd play him on like selected third downs.
That seems to be what most folks around the NFL are leaning towards. That
Every
he would
mock
be a
draft I
receiver.
read says it. It's the big name mock drafts all say that. The millions of mock drafts that are coming around say a variety of things.
Yeah. Yeah. We did see the break goes. Jim Tressel's the lieutenant governor of Ohio. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that happened this
today,
morning.
too.
Yeah.
His nickname was the Senator, so it's in play. I mean, it was as it was always supposed to be, I suppose. His plan before he got in trouble for that nonsense at Ohio State was to go into administration, eventually maybe be the athletic director, president. He was the president at Youngstown State. He was a vice president at Akron. But a lot of people thought politically would be something that he would pursue. Dr. Tom Osborne did that at Nebraska. Obviously, Tommy Tuberville doing that now in Alabama. So, there's examples of that. So it's not that surprising that he did it. But I was like you, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, wow. It's the best. The best is the
Pretty
lieutenant
wild.
governor, man.
Yeah.
I think for the next 2 years?
Yeah, and then DeWine's term is up because Husted went to the Senate.
That's right.
So to replace the Veep.
I thought it was interesting, Dion talking about his son and all the people he's bringing in and still doing this workout, still getting everything in. And then that he's talked to teams. He's talked to the top 3 or 4 teams.
Yeah.
Has he talked to other teams? Because he's probably getting questions on both guys.
He says he's been saying that they will go in the top 3 picks. That both of them will
go in the top 3.
Yes.
The only thing that would prevent that is probably Abdul Carter.
So then they go in the top 4.
Yeah. Yep. It's a hell. It is. I'll tell you what. Whatever. And I don't understand how you could have anything negative to say about Dion, but just in terms of what he's done as a college coach, he went to Jackson State.
And they were both at Jackson
They were
State.
both at Jackson State.
So 2 guys from Jackson.
Travis Hunter was
the
the number 1 player in the country. He was committed to Florida State. Dion stole him from Florida State, which was his alma mater.
Yeah.
And brought him to Jackson State. He brought Shador with him. Shador was originally committed, I want to say, to FAU. Goes to Jackson State. They win the SWAC, I think, the last year. They play 2 years there, then transfer to Colorado. Travis, I think, only played 1 year in Jackson State. Shador played 2. Transfer to Colorado, and they're both great for 2 years at Colorado. So from Dion's perspective, you think about, he is a man of his word. He told Travis Hunter, this was my plan for you. And he was going to do it at Jackson State, then he ended up doing it at Colorado. But everything he told him he would do, he did. Won the Heisman, playing full-time offense and full-time defense. Pretty good.
Real good.
Yeah. All right, we'll get back to the Super Bowl. We've got favorite commercials, our thoughts on the anthem, the halftime, all of those things coming up. The broadcast as well. That's coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of compiers and document services for the Cleveland Browns. They'll tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. All right, let's do Anthem halftime. Let's go preamble. So you got a Lady Gaga rendition of the Maverick song on Bourbon Street in homage of those who died in the tragedy around the Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
That was quite good.
Powerful.
Pre-recorded, obviously,
Yep.
but powerful. She can, as it turns out, she can sing. Just a little bit of talent.
Did you find it Did you find it strange that everybody was in NOLA Strong except for Tom Brady, who was in LAFD gear? Not to take anything away, but
Was it for both?
I did.
I don't know,
I didn't
because
even
I
notice.
joined it right as they went to her.
I wonder if they were trying to
So
do
I didn't know
both.
if
So
there
he was
an
doing
open-
LA Fires.
But he was the only one.
Strahan wasn't. He was in Enola.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I found it strange that no one else was, that you would at least split it maybe half and half or maybe 75-25, but he was the only one.
I don't know. I guess I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
So you had that. You had I thought the Harry Connick Jr. Welcome to New Orleans thing. I mean,
Good.
anytime you see him, you're like, that guy rocks.
Yep.
The John Baptiste nailed it over piano.
The
He had
piano
it, land
interlude.
of the free 3 times,
Uh-huh.
got him over. He crushed it too. I thought the anthem was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a couple of winners there. Did anybody cry during the anthem?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Chris Jones cried.
Chris Jones,
Sirianni
boom.
cried. Yeah, both did.
By the way, can we also talk about the fact that on the test run, there was a test run for a flyover, and it involved the Hoff?
Yeah, the Hoff was on it.
He was on the. I saw
On
the
the
video of
Ospreys?
that. I'm like,
On
what
the
is he doing?
Ospreys, yeah. He said he couldn't see the F-35 because it was in front of them, but he said it was pretty sweet.
So he just did the dry run of it. As I wonder if was that part of. Wonder what that was a part of.
So I was texting with him.
It was him and Tiki Barber.
Yeah, I think it was
think.
probably maybe for content, would be my guess.
Because Joe was the in-house, MC.
Yeah, he said they were by the rear door. He said it was amazing. Blew his mind. So it was
That was
pretty
cool. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Very cool.
Kendrick Lamar halftime. Where were you?
I thought it was fine.
Here's what I think.
We need to get Jordan.
We
Jordan.
need the younger guys.
Yeah, get
Well,
Jordan.
okay. So before we get the younger guys on, let's just say this is what it was for me. It was the first halftime show where I realized I'm old, and that I didn't know any of the songs. Now I looked to the right of me on the couch, and I saw 3 boys who knew a lot of the songs.
Really?
And we're singing, and we're quite familiar with the Drake beef. Like
Well, that
NBC
one,
was
yes.
all over it. Beamsy was like they knew the songs. They were jacked up when one of them played. Like none of those songs. I don't listen to. I guess must not listen to contemporary music. I'm obviously well aware of who he is, and well aware of the him and Drake thing. I get that, and well aware that he was there for what I thought was one of the great Super Bowl halftimes. But then I also realized that probably the reason I thought Dre and Snoop and M and all those guys were great is because those are my guys.
Well, and they were great.
but it's also there's a nostalgia to it.
There is, but I think they did it.
Like Don Draper said it. Nostalgia is potent. It's potent.
No doubt. I thought that it was just take how I felt about the music or any of that. I do think that at a Super Bowl halftime show, there should be multiple songs. He has, and J-Mac, correct me if I'm wrong, he's got some hits that he did not play that I think you would have heard before. I think you got to play the
So he didn't
hits of
play
the
any.
hits.
Yeah. Dr. J.
Dallas.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
On, so
All right, Dr. J.
What was that question?
Give us from your perspective, someone who's more familiar with the Kendrick Lamar catalog than we would be.
Mm-hmm.
Did he not play the hits?
So he played, let me put it this way. He played his 2025 or 2024 hits. With that being said, you still got a few albums preceded that were really good that he should have, did songs from. I personally think the flow of it all was not where it was supposed to be. You can't have all your hits and then you go to R&B songs and then you go into Not Like Us. It don't flow right. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So in the flow of it all, it's like, oh, I like that song. I like that song. Wait, what song is that? What song is that?
Oh, so even you were like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew
You knew it,
knew
but-
the songs,
Yeah.
but it was the flow of it. It's like give us something that everybody knows. Me and Gibbe was having a conversation earlier, like, well, you want to give us something that maybe those that only know a few songs by you would know. You know what I mean? So play your hits as opposed to playing your most recent hits. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yeah. Okay. So there's probably some older stuff that I would even if I didn't know it was him, if I heard it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what happened. I didn't know that Weeknd guy either. But when he did it a few years ago, other than making me nauseous with all the mirrors, I was like, oh, I know more of this guy than I thought. I was familiar with more of the songs than I thought I would know. And so I thought it was fine. I mean, my kids liked it. It wasn't, I didn't know any of the music.
Correct.
Yeah. Who hasn't done a Super Bowl halftime show who ought to?
Taylor.
I don't know if she ever will.
Who?
But Taylor Swift would be the no-brainer. Like she could do that.
There's not enough money
to. Well, they don't pay anybody. They don't pay them at all. They say, here's your 100 million people who are going to watch it. You're going to do. That's our payment.
Yeah.
So
I did think when the Not Like Us was great, having Serena on there was wild. Given
like
the
one of the most
history of
famous female athletes ever.
But Drake had been like after her for a while, that she had rebuked him and he was sour about it. So that was another.
Date her?
That was another like shot.
Yeah.
Yes.
He did date.
But then she.
Oh, she said, "I'm done with it."
Yeah, that was. She was there to be That was a shot. There were many
Easter eggs last night.
That whole performance at the end was 100% an F you to Drake on national television. I mean, when you have everybody in the place say A minor, was pretty wild.
What's their beef about?
So I
Kevin,
can explain
do you know?
this a little bit. Yes.
Give me a Reader's Digest version of the beef.
What's the beef?
So Drake kind of came at him first, and then they were kind of going back and forth with some diss tracks. And then when Kendrick dropped the Not Like Us and became a big worldwide hit, that was mainly just a diss track that took many deep shots at Drake, and Drake has not in the public eye has yet to respond and not really recovered. I liked it last night. I will say, from a production standpoint, guys, I don't understand why the backtracking still continues to be so much louder, because you couldn't hear Kendrick all the time, but I know his mic is turned up, but I feel like backtracking.
I thought that was just me.
That's what I was telling you guys last week. That's what it's like in the stadium.
And that's not just this year either. It's been the last few years.
Yeah. In the stadium, you can't hear the voices. You just hear the music. It just bounces off. So what's the genesis of the beef?
So it's funny.
Can you share it, or is it FCC appropriate? It's okay?
Yeah, absolutely,
okay. Right.
Absolutely. So what's funny is the beef actually started with Drake and Pharrell years ago, and Kendrick is a part of Pharrell's camp. And so with that being said, Drake took shots at Pharrell about owning his catalog and all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And Kendrick didn't like that. So this beef has been going on for years upon years.
Yeah.
This is like the boiling point of it all.
Okay.
So.
Well, I would say you've won if you go high Drake or whatever he said in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Middle of the Super Bowl halftime, you've probably won. Yeah.
This is
All right,
also
some
coming from a Drake fan.
non-FCC references last night, too.
Yeah.
But
Quite.
if you guys saw the PlayStation controller letters out there, the X, the square, circle, that was also a shot at Drake. There was little shots at the whole beef throughout the entire show. Yeah.
Like Super Bowl halftime show, to use it as a...
Because
someone's living rent-free in someone's head. That's what's going
Drake
on
works
there.
for Sony. Sony has PlayStation. So, he's
come on
living
now.
rent-free for sure.
All right, so it didn't work for me, but it was fine. The kids liked it, and obviously there was stuff that was not intended for me to get in that thing, which is fine. Sometimes you get old, and that's where we're at. Commercials. How'd we think at large?
I thought they took a little while to get going, but midway through the second quarter, they just took off with a bang. I've been singing Seal all morning. G-Man and I.
Seal was amazing. So that's another one where being old helped. My kids had no idea who Seal was.
Nope.
So they thought they didn't understand what that was. Like they thought that was some sort of seal with the face or something. Like I'm like, no. His name's Seal. His name's Seal, and so that's. I don't remember what it was for.
Baja Blast from
Mountain Dew?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Hilarious.
What were your favorites?
I mean, because I like Eugene Levy so much, I enjoyed his eyebrows flying around. I thought it was pretty wild, though, that there were two commercials, because later there was one where a mustache was flying around that involved hair leaping off of a person's face and flying through the
Was
air.
it for the same company?
I don't think so.
Because the other one had like
it was
James
not.
Harden without a
The
mustache.
mustache one was Pringles.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was
And
Pringles,
one was
and
Little
the other one
Caesars.
was Little Caesars. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I like that. I liked. I thought the Uber Eats with McConaughey was great.
That was great. When he's everything in football, like all of it was about feeding us. Football's
Yeah.
just designed to get us to eat food or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
I
very
thought
good.
that one was really good.
I loved the fact that in the Dunkin' commercial and then the Matt Damon,
Yeah, that was
David
good.
Beckham, they
David
took
and
shots
David.
at each other.
Other David.
Yeah, he goes, so would you say he's Matt Damon famous? And he's like, no, maybe more like Ben Affleck famous. He goes, that's too bad.
That's too bad. Yes.
too
But
bad.
like
Yeah, that one
earlier
was
in the
good.
Dunkin' commercial, they took a shot at Matt Damon.
Because
took a shot.
we couldn't afford him.
Which I thought was good. I love the idea. Well, what did you name him? Other David. I thought that was funny.
Other David. There are two Davids. One's David, one's the other David.
Other David. My favorite, the Seal one is the only one where I was like literally laughed when I saw it out loud. The other one I thought that was pretty damn clever was Shane Gillis and Post Malone and Peyton Manning on Bud Light.
Yeah. That was
And
good.
the jorts, I really enjoyed that. Like their smokers, a lawnmower, and then Peyton Manning's timing is so good. Like his acting, like Post Malone and Shane Gillis are obviously very talented, but Manning still has a way to deliver a line that I think is as good as his comedic timing is just perfect.
So good.
It's unbelievable. And Gillis like yelling, the HOA is already up my ass. Like all of that was great. That was a very good one. I thought it was pretty strong.
I like the Harrison Ford
Yeah.
When he
USA
says, "And my last
super
name's Ford."
patriotic Jeep ad. I thought was
Yeah.
pretty good.
And I'm a Ford or whatever.
The Instacart one where they had all those very iconic brand
Yeah.
logo mascots all converging on the porch. I like that one was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some it was solid. I thought it was solid. We got the Clydesdale back. Like
Yep.
you got to go get to work. I thought it was good. Always good. My kids, that's another one. They have no idea that there was Clydesdales in every Super Bowl ad for 1,000
baby.
years.
Yeah.
You know, that was such a part of it. So they missed that.
By the way, the He Gets Us ad, was that
Who's that?
it was the ad for
It
Jesus.
says Jesus Gets Us. It's like a campaign they've been running since last
but
year.
they played
But there
it
was some good
It
ones.
was Personal Jesus, Depeche Mode, but it sounded like Johnny Cash was singing it.
It was
It
Johnny
was
Cash
Johnny Cash.
singing it.
That was pretty-
Unmistakably Johnny Cash. Oh, I remember the one that
That
my
was
kids-
pretty strong.
My kids were quite excited for one that had a very different intent than what it was supposed. The breast cancer one.
Ah, yes.
Like NBC and Beams, you were like, whoa. And my wife's like, what is this? Because it went on for a while.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is this? Is this appropriate? And then you get to the end and you're like, oh, well, that's an attention getter, which I guess is the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea. But yeah, the boys were like Beams, he goes, this is my favorite one. Jeez.
It would be young.
Then at the end, it's kind of like, oh, well, there you go. All right, broadcast. Here are my three thoughts. I think Rinaldi and Aaron Andrews are excellent.
Elite.
I think they are
Elite.
the two best when it comes to sideline. Aaron's ability to connect with players and disarm them immediately is a true gift. She's had it her whole career. She doesn't get enough credit for as good as she is.
No, she's so good.
Awesome
Yep.
at it. She's very natural. Just great. She's really great.
Yep.
And Rinaldi's that way too. Rinaldi's great. The
Pro's
two of them
pro.
were just absolutely sensational. I thought those two were great.
Evan Washburn on CBS, I think, is really good too. There's some Tracy Wolfson's good, but that was them together is a very good combo.
It's really, really good. I think I do not understand I don't understand what Gronk's doing on that pregame show and taking away from other people talking.
Correct.
I mean, he was like, it was such.
He offered nothing.
Well, no, and then he felt like he had to talk,
Yes.
which made it even worse. Like he was talking over, trying to get his thoughts in, and then it looked like he kind of maybe visited like Tony Montana's house before he showed up for work because he was sweating and he was talking really fast and yelling, and I'm like, what is going on, dude? Chill out a little bit.
That's
Am
good.
I wrong?
No,
Was he
it's
shot
good.
out of a cannon?
It's good.
Just dripping sweat? I'm like, what are we doing? Strange.
Yeah.
And then I thought Brady struggled.
He's just not good at it.
He struggled.
He's really he's just not good at it.
Maybe he'll get good.
I don't think so. I think he'd be good by now.
Naturally, it's awkward.
It doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
Not to get
A lot going on in that face.
Would you have rather had Brady or the former
Greg Olson?
number one person, Greg Olson.
Well, for sure, Greg. Yeah, I didn't think Tom offered really any insight.
And he's
kind of yells all the time for no reason, and kind of KB and like, yeah, I don't know. He's not natural at all.
It doesn't feel like their chemistry is natural either. Whenever he tries to make like a joke with them, it's kind of like
I don't know that Tom would have chemistry. Maybe with anybody.
Tom tried to make a joke to Pereira, and Pereira was having none of it.
Tried making a joke to Pereira. He
none
tried
of it.
making a joke about Kevin Hart's height on the thing, which was obviously tied back to the roast. But like, you have to remember, like, how many people you think like the whole world watched your roast? It actually didn't.
No.
So like it was very popular, obviously, but like this is a different audience.
Yeah.
The other thing is like 2.5 times audience of the championship games. Probably there's a bunch of people watching football for the first time, and to not like be a little bit better at describing what's happening. There really was none of that.
Yeah, no, not really at all.
Not at all.
Which was strange.
And the greater that the sum became on the scoreboard, like the less analysis was actually offered.
There was no analysis.
Yeah.
It just came back, kept coming back to like Kevin just kept going back to like Brady's career and talking about his career. And I understand that like Mahomes chasing Brady was kind of part of the story of this.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was a real struggle. Really a struggle.
I mean, I think obviously Olsen would have been better. Romo would have been better. Charles Davis. There are a lot of guys that would have been better in that seat in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be curious it'll be interesting if the NFL allows him to keep calling games, which I'm not.
They shouldn't.
I wouldn't think they would be
shouldn't.
able to.
And quite frankly, when you're associated with such a level of greatness, and this is not at your standard, he might want to bow out.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think he's all in.
It's weird, though. He just doesn't have a feel for it. He doesn't have a natural feel for it, and it's odd for somebody who sees as well. Because he gave, earlier in the week, he gave a captivating interview where he's talking about, I didn't have a strongest arm, I wasn't this, but he talked about his mental process, and it was awesome hearing him get into all of that stuff. But in the game, it's just like almost like he doesn't know when to be football, when to not be. It's weird. You would think he'd be like, I feel like Peyton would step in and be incredible at it. Even under
Hard
the
to
end of that
imagine
structure.
that he wouldn't be.
He'd be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He's just not great at it.
No, and it's okay.
It's okay.
He won 7 Super Bowls. Like, there's other things.
The thing that's so odd to me about it is I don't know if you do this when you're watching games as well, but a lot of times I'm watching it and then I'll inadvertently just kind of do what I would be doing if it was our game. I would offer like my commentary. And some stuff that seems so obvious, and I'm not saying I'm seeing it better than Tom Brady, not at all, but it feels like there's a disconnect between what I know he's seeing and his ability to articulate that.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it's a real challenge. And there's been other guys too. I mean, like Joe, it was a struggle for him, like going into the booth.
And then he said,
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm not doing
good
this.
at it.
This ain't for me.
Yeah.
Like people have tried it.
Witten.
I'm out. I can't do it. This isn't working. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. You know that Nate Bargatze SNL skit where he acts like it's 1776?
George Washington.
Yeah. So McNeil had a great one on this. It has those guys' pictures, so it's Bargatze and those guys, and he goes, "It shall be called the Super Bowl. Will be a huge national event playing deep into the night on Sunday when everyone must go to work on Monday. Why not play it on Saturday? Nobody knows."
Nobody knows. Yeah, those are the best.
That's very good. I wonder why didn't somebody at one point say to Pete Rozelle years ago, "Man, Super Bowl Sunday sounds great, but Super Bowl Saturday is kind of a flipping winner."
That's an all-day party for everyone.
We're all off. What would be the negative in playing the Super Bowl on Saturday?
None.
We're trying to create a national holiday for Monday. Just play it on Saturday.
Play it on Saturday.
Solved.
Great.
Solves it.
30.
And now to the off season.
We're all 0-0, dude. Tied for first.
That's it. There you go. Next level's coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.